Robotics started off as a BIM company. I've never been a 2D CAD drafting company. Yep. It just wasn't able to be done because of the machine data that we need to be able to use the Wyman equipment, saws, framing machines, bridges. So we had to start as a BIM company. There has been a lot of evolution over the last 2 years in how we BIM here at Blueprint Robotics.
Brought to you by Graitec, developers of the complete light gauge steel and wood framing software for Revit StruSoft. Offsite, modular, or prefabricated, StruSoft Framer turns Revit into a powerful manufacturing tool, automating every step of the DFMA process from design to final delivery. StruSoft doesn't just work with Revit, it transforms it. Jumpstart your designs at StruSoftSolutions.com. Halleck Ltd. has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and producing innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for off-site modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. Go to their website, halleckltd.com. Hey everybody, this is Dave Cooper and we are in Baltimore, Maryland at Blueprint Robotics, and standing with me today is Jason Bos, Chief Operations Officer at a highly automated facility. Jason, thanks for the show.
Thanks for coming, Dave.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
I love it. So Jason, tell us a little bit about who you are, what your role is, give us a little bit of your background, and then let's get into what you're doing here at Blueprint.
Perfect. So I have been in the offsite construction industry before offsite was a buzzword. And I came here to Blueprint Robotics to help Blueprint continue to push the envelope and establish a better way to build. Blueprint has made a big impact on the industry by a heavy utilization in automated equipment in the factory environment. That ties right to a heavy utilization of BIM software and BIM technology as well.
Yeah, and I definitely want to get into the technology and what runs all the technology out on the floor behind us here. But let's first talk about a little bit your background. You've been in this industry for quite some time, and I think it's really important for people to understand, the knowledge that you bring. You've been here for 2 years.
So I started my career on a shop floor as a fabricator in an off-site sheet metal and steel manufacturing facility.
Right.
My skill set in unique tools in that environment led me into an opportunity to join an engineering team, which led into working with operations teams. As I progressed in my career, I found that the integration of the pieces was just as important as the individual pieces themselves. And so I've spent most of my career now integrating factory, manufacturing, site, and office components and design components into a seamless system that can produce at high volume.
Yeah, and that's what you're doing here at Blueprint. Wait till you guys see the yard. I mean, it is full of product getting ready to be shipped out, as well as what's happening behind us. Let's talk about industry leadership for a moment here. Blueprint Robotics has probably been the longest standing robotic autonomized industry for manufacturing of buildings. When it comes to automation, they've been the leader in the industry, at least, going back, several years now. Tell us the role you guys are playing in the industry and driving innovation forward.
Right, so 8 years ago, Jerry Smalley had a vision of a factory that could produce single-family closed wall panels. Working inside of polygons gives flexibility to the types of projects that you can produce. And the vision was to do this with automated equipment, to do it with better precision, better methods, and with the ability to do it at high volume. Over time, Blueprint has evolved. The value in scalability comes in hospitality, multifamily construction, and much larger projects well beyond the size and scale of single-family homes.
Talk to us a little bit about the type of buildings you are doing. What is the construction? Is it panel? Is it closed frame? Is it open frame? Is it module? Is it all the above?
It's a lot of different things. We do a lot of hospitality work. We also do a lot of multifamily work. It can be anything from slab on grade to 5-over podiums. We do both type 3 and type 5 construction. We primarily do open wall construction here at the factory nowadays. We do that to ease the burden and some of the uneasiness in the industry when it comes to regulatory compliance. We do a very high amount of content in the panels. We try to push our factory level of completion as high as we can while servicing inside of the rough-in market. We do all of the framing, sheeting, WRB, windows, doors, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, as much as we can possibly do in the factory inside of our polygons.
And what is your radius for building?
So we have projects all the way up as far as Buffalo, New York, and we go well down into the lower side of Washington, D.C. A lot of times, transportation is less of an impact to the project than what folks would think, and part of what gives us the ability to overcome transportation is the content of the panels. More dollar volume you have in the panel, the easier it is to make a long transport.
Walk me through how the process works, right? We're talking about efficiency, right? We're gonna get into some sustainability as well, but from a factory production standpoint, walk us through how the design process works, what your role is in the design process here, and the implementation of the design all the way through manufacturing.
So we have done a lot over the last 2 years to evolve our building information modeling team and the processes and softwares that we use. In the past, we struggled with volume production in building information modeling. So we've had to make some changes there. In general, for the customer, we try to make this process as seamless as possible. We take whatever they have. It could be a napkin sketch. It could be a full permitted CD set of plans. It could be a concept design. And we take their information and we build in Revit a architectural model. That architectural model is very specifically built for Blueprint Robotics, and it drives the automation piece of the software that gives us our framing, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Ultimately, that model is then converted into work instructions for the production line, as well as machine files for the production line.
DFMA, Design for Manufacture Assembly, is a big topic in the industry.
It is.
Especially as more automation's coming into the industry. A lot of the companies that are in this industry that are doing panelization, volumetric, right? They're still using 2D drawings or 2D design on CAD systems. How are you tackling the process from that design and speaking to the machines? Because that's really where the hiccup's been. And how did you guys implement that here? Did you start off with it?
Blueprint Robotics started off as a BIM company.
Okay.
We've never been a 2D CAD drafting company. It just wasn't able to be done because of the machine data that we need to be able to use the Wyman equipment, saws, framing machines, bridges. So we had to start as a BIM company. There has been a lot of evolution over the last 2 years in how we BIM here at Blueprint Robotics.
Yeah, can I ask who are you using for your software?
So currently, our base platform is Revit from Autodesk.
Okay.
And we have worked very extensively over the last 2 years to highly customize MWF from Graitec.
So Graitec StruSoft, right? Perfect. So when you brought in the Graitec StruSoft MWF program, how was that process? Walk us through that, because I think this is where a lot of people get nervous about integration, especially on factories that are already up and running. You just basically said that you helped implement a whole new system since you've been here.
We did. We converted from one system to another, and the new system was Revit-based MWF. That transition was very risky for Blueprint Robotics. We do not have downtime in the factory in that we could take months to craft a piece of software, test it, and implement it. One of the strongest points of our partnership with Graitec is that they were willing to come in and make a transition on a live project, on a project that had real schedules and real risk points, and helped us mitigate those risks by supporting us not only in the software as a deliverable, but the customization of the software, as well as the initial implementation and utilization. So we actually partners with Graitec to have Graitec personnel helping us in production as we made.
So their team came here?
Their team worked remotely. They did spend some time here. There were fun long days where we had one of their best programmers sitting here in the office and we were running things live on the shop floor.
Right.
And he was literally cranking through the code and re-uploading software and reprocessing so that we could keep moving while making this transition.
When you chose the software to come in and actually work here on the floor, because you already had equipment, right? You're already using, another software of some sort, used with the automation out on the factory floor. What was the value add with Graitec? Because you have, other equipment out here. You have a mix of equipment. Does it talk to all those systems?
So their software talks to all of our systems here, all of the automated equipment. The value add for Graitec was, as we looked at different partners and we looked at different people, one of our challenges was making sure that at the end of this transition, we had a large user base of potential users available to us. And that was what led us to use Revit and then also MWF.
Right.
I knew some folks that had used MWF in the past, and that gave me confidence that the software could do what we needed it to do.
Excellent.
The next piece that was really key was the partnership with Graitec. Having Graitec as a partner who was willing to come and mitigate risk was a big game changer for us.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't take the production line offline. We had to make a seamless transition as we put a project online.
Right.
And their partnership made that happen.
Let's move to sustainability.
Okay.
Let's talk about the sustainability goals for Blueprint, right? How has MWF or even the software and the production of how you're currently operating impacted your sustainability goals, and what are those goals?
So our goal is to have zero landfill waste from a sustainability standpoint. We put as little trash in the bin as we can possibly put in the bin.
Right.
The way you get to that, this is a lot of buzz in the industry, right? Nobody wants to be the one that's throwing metric tons of materials and trash away. The way you get there is through data. And that's how Graitec has helped us have an impact in our own personal goal to be a more sustainable company, is that their systems provide us with data that we can then utilize to perform better. They provide us with data that we can look at and say, hey, we're using a certain material and we're going to know in advance what our off-fall from that material is, and we can plan to capture the off-fall, store it, and reutilize it, rather than us saying, load the lumber in the machine, whatever falls off, put it in the trash can.
Right.
And not having a plan in place.
So when I hear that, it's also helping eliminate errors, right? System errors, quantity errors, all of those things.
It is. There are remarkable tools in the system, like Copy Modular, that gives us the ability to define, say, an entire unit or an area in a unit, a kitchen, a bathroom, a utility pod, various different types of units, from a grouping of wall panels or floor panels to individual wall panels and floor panels. And then we can copy those well-defined granular elements to the other areas in the building that piece can be utilized. That gives us very early data on how we're utilizing materials and where we're utilizing materials.
Let's talk about ROI. All right, that's what everybody wants to know about in this industry. Right? I mean, that's the goal here. So with the efficiencies, the streamlining, using all the automation that you have here in the manufacturing environment, talk to me a little bit about how do you continually strive for that ROI?
Probably a good way to talk about ROI is what we were able to accomplish last year. Last year, in the beginning of 2023, is when we made the transition to Revit and MWF. As we were reflecting as a team on the year at the end of 2023, we took a look at what our volume was for the year and how much volume had we not made a transition, what volume we would have been able to accomplish versus what we were able to accomplish having made the transition. In round numbers, we produced roughly 150,000 linear feet of wall panels.
Okay.
We think we would have actually hit a cap of somewhere around 60,000 linear feet of wall panel had we not made the transition.
So you've doubled, more than doubled.
So in terms of our volume potential in the factory, the software allowed us to push the factory to higher limits much faster. The reason that happened is because we were able to produce faster in the BIM environment and not just barely squeak by feeding the factory. We have more factory capacity than we had BIM capacity.
Right.
The software leveled that playing field and gave us more BIM capacity to help match our factory capacity.
Talk to me a little bit about collaboration with architects, engineers. We're talking about software. They all use in design and Revit software, Autodesk, whatever the case is. You know, has the MWF, and what for our audience is MWF stand for?
Metal wood framer.
Metal wood framer. And you guys are only doing wood here.
We are. We only do wood here.
Yeah. Collaboration between architects and engineers with the systems you're currently using. Is everything done in-house, or do your systems work with anybody on the outside of the industry?
We do a lot of collaboration with architects and engineers. We are never the architect of record or the engineer of record.
Yeah.
So by nature, we have to coordinate with these folks in great detail. We can do it much more efficiently because my team can generate detail level drawings and information and modify them quickly so that our communication happens seamlessly. So we can show people what we need the building to be built like, rather than the really slow markup a set of details and hand it back, and then it comes back to us and mark it up again. We can actually bring the architects and the engineers right into our 3D environment. They can see the model, they can log concerns, they can ask questions, we can assign things to them, and we can build that building virtually as a digital twin before we ever go into production.
Yeah, and the digital twins is a big deal, right? Having that BIM model, being able to see it in 3D, being able to spin it around so you don't have conflicts with the MEP contractors, the framing contractors, the plumber, electricity, everybody else that's out there. So with that said, you guys do work with outside architects and engineers, and you collaborate with them to help them design their plans and get them into a factory-built environment, so to speak.
We do. We do. We take projects at a very early stage where we go in and do design assist, and we help them tune their project at the very early stages. We also do projects that are fully permitted and ready to be built. Shovel-ready projects come to us on a regular basis. And in those cases, we have to be able to quickly help transition to details that work inside of our Offsite polygon system.
We're going to go for a walk on the factory floor here in a little bit. Tell us a little bit about some of the products that are out there. I saw some module pods that were out there, so I saw pods. There's clearly a lot of panelization and flooring systems happening. Trusses I saw in the back. Walk us through what you currently have going down the line now.
So what we currently have going down the line right now, Dave, is a series of Type 3 wall panels. That's why the lumber's pink. And we have a series for that same project of pods. Pods that are a utility room and a washer-dryer compartment joined together.
What's the future looking like here at Blueprint? Are you looking at further growth, further factories? Tell us a little bit about where you're headed.
We are looking at a lot of growth. The challenge for the industry right now is manufacturing capacity. Everybody wonders why we haven't made it as an industry to more than somewhere between 3 to 6% of the industry.
Depending who you ask.
Depending on who you talk to. So the challenge though is that really we don't have enough factory capacity to become 50% of the construction industry.
That's right.
Blueprint recognizes that. And one of the reasons we've heavily invested in the software and technology piece is so that we can scale factories. I can use the same group of people to provide goods to multiple factories across multiple geographies. That's why the BIM piece of the business is so important. So yes, we are in a scaling mode. We have got some great partners that are helping us be able to scale. We have multiple factories in our grand plan, and we're looking forward to being able to deploy those factories in short order.
How do you see the future of Offsite currently? Obviously good if you're opening new factories, but where do you see it heading?
As I talk to people, as I talk to developers and I talk to general contractors, I think construction is becoming smarter. And the value proposition of data is becoming a much bigger topic. I can imagine a day when a developer, instead of driving around in his car, looking for pieces of property, and then going and pulling the plats, and then trying to do some massing, employing an architect to do a massing exercise, I can see a day when that narrative changes to a fully integrated development platform. He can sit down at his desk. He can pull up a piece of ground, he can load it in, and he can select what he is going to put on the site. And then augmented reality, artificial intelligence, these things are coming of age, and they'll be deployed to support those efforts. And if those efforts are then connected to the BIM, when they're connected to BIM, and you have real-time costing and real-time bill of materials and real-time development of of machine files and shop drawings and installation. That's where the future of the industry appears to be going.
Do you think AI is going to allow the BIM software to speak in real time to the automation in a factory floor and do more bespoke products versus productized product?
I think it can. I think we can certainly get it there, but I also think that the AI can also help with the efficiency of the workload. When you get into the nuts and bolts of a digital twin of a building, there can be a lot of repetitive tasks that are really just decision making. And that's a perfect application for artificial intelligence. We've covered a lot, and we'll cover some more down on the shop floor.
We are. We're going to interview some other people down there, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We're going to go down to the factory floor. I'm Dave Cooper. We're in Baltimore, Maryland at Blueprint Robotics. See you next time. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you, and as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.